Hi everyone, it's your friend with the funny family, and I have another funny family story for you right now. Just remember, it's about the story, not the makeup, not a makeup tutorial. This family story is about our last family vacation that we ever took, and it's kind of a long one, so bear with me. So we have just moved and we are getting ready to do a family vacation, and we have moved closer to Utah right now. So we're like, they have great rafting in Moab. We should go do that. They book the trip. We get a hotel room for the night, have dinner, and we're looking over the brochure. It's like, oh, they're going to take a raft trip. They have 4 or 5 rafts that go down the river. And, you know, it's not like rapids, because it's family friendly, but you know, you go over some cool stuff. It's not experienced rafters required. We get up the next morning and we're supposed to take a bus out to the river location that we go in. So we park at the shop, the raft shop, and we all load up on a bus, and then they bus us out to the drop-off point, because that way, you know, they have like the raft guys who get in the river, and then they have the bus driver who just drives to the other end, like where we're getting out. The raft guides inform us that we're waiting on some other people. So they're like, we're gonna get started, we're gonna start prepping things to get in the river, but we're waiting on another bus, so it's gonna be a minute. So, you know, we take the time to use the bathroom at the little public toilets that they have there. Make sure you have everything, put on your sunscreen, you know. We're like, all right, we got some time. We'll make it work. So at this time, we know that we are rafting with some people from England. And one of them is standing outside the bathroom, and the guy asks, where's your bikini? The lady responds, I didn't bring a bikini because I don't have the body for a bikini. My dad leans over to me at this point and says,
what language are they speaking?
English.
What did they say?
She said she didn't bring her bikini because she doesn't have the body for a bikini.
Oh my gosh, you can understand that?
Yeah, Dad. They're speaking English. We can understand them. And they did have a kind of a thick Cockney accent, but they're speaking English, dude. Another bus full of people shows up, and this bus has 40 people on it. They get out, and they're like, oui, oui, en français, beautiful day out today. The British people look over and they're like, of course, if the British are waiting, it's on the French.
What did they say?
This is gonna be a good trip, guys. Well, here's the thing. These French people have prepared for a nice boat ride on the river. They don't realize that this is river rafting, guys. Not a boat ride, it's river rafting. Because these are French tourists, they have some translators with them. So I think they had 1 translator per 10 people, which was perfect because I think each raft needed to have 11 people on it. We're trying to divvy up and figure out who's going on what boat, you know, like, oh, put these people together with this, they have to have a translator. Now, the British people are not happy that they had to wait on the French, so they're like, we don't want to be on a boat with the French. But they say it more like this. We won't be on a boat with the French.
What are they saying?
Dad, they're speaking English. It was great. Now, so the British people do not want to be on the boat with French people. So they're like, don't put us together with that. But they seem to like us. We're a pretty funny family. And we are just the one English family of 5 in the middle of this civil war.
Oh, shots
on
fired!
A river in Moab.
Oh!
It gets better because one of the raft guides kind of gets annoyed that he had to wait for the bus of people anyways. So he just takes off. Like, he just throws some people in his boat and takes off. He doesn't bother to figure out who he has on his boat, and they're all French people, and they don't have an interpreter. That's why it was taking longer, dude. We were trying to find interpreters for all y'alls. So the other raft people are like, shoot dang, why did he take off? We need to make sure that these people have interpreters on their boat. So one of the other raft guides is like, all right, well, we gotta go catch up to him. So he puts more than the number of people he needs on his boat, and he takes off. And this guy is freaking rowing like crazy. And he's explaining to us, because we were on the boat with him, he's explaining to us the rules of the raft, you know, like always make sure you're sitting on the floor, make sure your safety vests are on correctly, buckled up, don't unbuckle them while you're on the river. You know, I'm sure that the spiel was normally much nicer than it was, but when we were doing it, it was like, make sure you're always on the floor and make sure that your life vest is good, you know, because he's rowing like a madman. So one of the things is he's like, when I say to get down, you got to get on the floor. And what I say is James Brown. When I say James Brown, you got to get down like James Brown, which basically means make sure you're all the way in the raft. Like, you know, you might want to hold on to something. Make sure your life vest is good because we're going to hit some things. I think by this time, the other raft guide has realized as he's giving his safety spiel that none of the people in his boat speak English. The only way to change people mid-river ride is to run into the other raft. So our raft guide is like, get down, James Brown. These people are like, pourquoi? Pourquoi? So we run into the boat, and the older French woman who was sitting on the edge of the boat goes toppling over into the water. Yeah. Now, two of the other people who were on the boat like grabbed each of her legs, arms, you know, so she kind of like, she went to fall and then they like grabbed her, pulled her back on the boat. Thankfully, it was fine. But, you know, they're upset about this because they thought they were in for a nice boat ride on the river. They didn't realize that this was river rafting and that they might get wet. So they're wearing like dress clothes. They're expecting wine. They pull her back in the boat. We exchange the interpreters for that. The whole time, these French people are like, intentional. Like, it wasn't intentional. This idiot just took off before he should have. Good job, guy. See, now, when this French lady goes over into the water, the British person that we were talking about earlier who didn't bring her bikini because she doesn't have the body for a bikini, she is dying laughing. She thinks this is the funniest thing ever. She's like, he took off without an interpreter and now they're in the water. This is great. New plan. We're going to try something different. Okay, so then we go to stop for lunch, and lunch was included in this, but you know, it's like pack lunch, you know, a lunch that you would expect to have on the river, like, you know, cold cut sandwiches, potato chips, easy to store and cool items. That's what we've got. The French people are like, where the heck is lunch? So they're kind of like picking around, trying to figure out like, all right, what's even edible here? So my brother is fixing himself some lunch, and one of the interpreters that is on the rafting trip with us is like, what is this? And he holds up a can of peanut butter, and my brother's like, oh, well, that's peanut butter. Now, we don't know at this point that they don't have peanut butter. Peanut butter? What's peanut butter? And he's like, yeah, peanut butter, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He's like, peanut butter, it makes our armies strong. This guy served in the French Navy. So he's like, I do not eat peanut butter. Okay, dude, sorry. Now you have to remember that the British people think that anything to do with the French suffering is hilarious because they're already upset that they had to wait for them, and you know, French and British don't really get along. There's some history there, guys. So we continue down the river, and we are having a good time. I mean, despite the fact that the French and British people want to kill each other, this is actually turning into a good family vacation. Okay, I saw this on Pinterest. We're gonna try it. Not bad. Okay, Pinterest. I'm into it. So we get off the boat ride, and the British people are like, call me, because they've been having a good time with us. They're like, oh, this is such a funny, weird family of 5 from America. If you ever find yourself in Britain, look us up.
What did they say?
Dad, they're speaking English. French people go off to find some real food, because they're like, that was awful. And maybe a bottle of wine, because today was stressful. Our boat ride on the river was not a boat ride, it was rafting. And so we get done and we're like, what the heck just happened? Like, We go back to the hotel and we just think the whole thing has turned out, we thought it was hilarious, honestly. Like we were laughing about it. And we're like, overall, that was a good trip. That's my funny family story for today. Join me next time for more funny family stories on Pineapple Thursday, because Friday is too far away.